Welcome to The Fix. Sit down with copywriting experts Nick O'Connor and Glenn Fisher as they review, discuss, and improve real-world copy sent in by you. This is The Fix.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Fix. As always, we're going to look at a piece of copy and see if we can make it stronger. So, Glenn, let's dive straight in. Bring the copy up on screen and I will read it aloud for you.
I hope that works as a visual, just me lifting it, bringing it. There we go.
Tiny piece of copy onto the screen.
There we go.
Right, are you ready?
Yeah, let's assume it's there.
Okay, headline. How to make £100,000 or more each year as a used, rare and out of print book dealer. The easiest business that really makes money on the internet. Most people are not aware that everyday books, maybe even books you have in your house right now, are actually worth a lot of money. Not all books are valuable, but how would you know the difference? Until now, there was no easy way to tell. I'll give you the inside story on how to set up your own business buying and selling certain used books that could earn you more than you ever thought you could working from home. I'll read the beginning of the lead and we'll go from there. Dear friend, brackets, if not now, soon. My name is Roland Jason. I own and operate a rare and out of print book business for almost 15 years. It hasn't always been this way. I've been an information junkie, avid book reader, and lover of books since I was very young. A few years ago, I discovered that certain books are highly valued by collectors worldwide and that you could make a living, even £100,000 or more, buying and selling used books. I couldn't believe it until I discovered this hidden market for used books in my local library. I was in my local public library one day looking for any information that I could use to make some money. I came across a book called Collected Books, A Guide to Values. Since I love books, I was curious about this book and what it was about. Picked it up and started reading it. I'm going to stop there. This is a full sales letter that we've got here, but there's quite a lot there that we can unpack. Maybe we can come back to the copy. I know I often say that and we almost never do, but that's usually because we want to spend as much of our time as we can on that first page, because that's where you're going to get or lose. Well, the common figure is 80%, isn't it? But I suspect it's much more like 90 or 95%. You know, you either get them there or you don't, and it's a numbers game from there on in. So Glenn, you like this sort of thing. I'm not talking there about the copy itself, but the content, because I know for a fact that you, when I first met you, used to sell secondhand books, and you live in a house that is 95% constructed from books because you love books but hate bookcases, so they are all stacked up. I assume they're all still stacked up in your house, like your old house.
No,
Do you have piles of books somewhere in your house?
I've progressed in. I have piles of books, yeah, mainly due to overflow purposes.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I've built a lot of bookshelves, but I still say the other day I started rereading one of my favorite authors, but I've done that. But even though I've got all these books, I'm buying the first edition hardbacks, and like Ruth's face was just like, "What are you doing? Like, you've already got these books," and I was like, "Yeah, but I get the hardbacks. You're going to get rid of the paperback?" Nah, I'm just going to hold
it. Is a problem you've got, but it does mean that you know a little bit about this. That could be bad, could be good.
So I did this myself, and I had a slightly different take on it. I used to obviously write for business opportunity stuff for Agora, and part of my authenticity play was that I like to do things that I was trying to sell. So I started doing it myself. I'll go into charity shops, find secondhand books, find the first edition marks in them. Most people don't realize how it works. And you could easily go into charity shops. You can still do it today and find books for a 50p a pound that would sell on eBay for 15, 16, 20, 30 quid kind of thing. Woody, James, who runs the Agora in Australia, his girlfriend at the time, because he saw I was doing it, and his girlfriend had loads of textbooks, like expensive university textbooks that you only buy once and then you don't need. He sold loads, like for loads of money, and did me a testimonial for the actual thing. So I've done all that and it is a genuine business opportunity, I think. And yeah, so I think the actual idea behind it is a strong one. As for the copy, rubbish. No, it's not rubbish. My first thing I'm going to say with this straight away, and this comes from a place where I don't think it is because I did it myself, and I'm familiar with this. I think it's just a general thing. I think when I see big, bold claims, big promises, 100 grand a year, I think it is, on this one, I think it's too much. And I think it doesn't balance with what you're talking about. And so there's a couple of different things there, but I think 100 grand, 100K or more, most people go, yeah, don't believe you. It's too much of a generic figure, not just in the sense that it's a round number. I'm not saying, say, 97.6 thousand and all that kind of got lost 10 years ago, that debate. But it's just too big a thing that makes me put my heckles, is it heckles, I think, when dog's neck goes up, kind of thing, just me, oh, I'm not sure, 100 grand. And then I also think, what, from selling out of print books, I think you could have a much stronger impact in that headline with a lower amount, and come in lower here, where you could make your first smaller amount or what have you, and make it more about the first sales. And then, in fact, you could even make £100,000 kind of thing, and look at my track record, look at what I've done, kind of thing. So I think it's that there's just an opportunity here to really lift up the impact of it, because I don't doubt for a minute you might be able to make that much money if you put that much work in. But I think just from that big 100 grand claim puts this in and amongst other big money claims, and I don't think you want to be competing with that. I think you can straight away get in a better place. It's a very specific thing, I understand that. Rather,
no, I think that, but I think it's true. And I'll give an example from our world. You know, you see so much stuff online about, I mean, I get bombarded with it on LinkedIn and other things. People who obviously haven't even looked at my profile send me spam about stuff, about how they can make me, it's how you can make £10,000 a month or $10,000 a month or 6 figures a year. Those are the two copywriting cliches. You can get retainers of 10,000 a month, or you can make 6 figures a year. It just puts your copy into the, if you use a similar claim, you're just positioning your copy with all that, and I'm going to use a technical term here, utter bollocks that everybody knows isn't true. And people who do believe it briefly are bound to be disappointed. Now, I'm not saying that this is not true, but by using that claim, you're putting your work in with those people.
I guess what it does is, yeah, it gets rid of, I'm thinking in technically, so the next thing to do then and say, right, okay, well, let's lower that. But what it does, it puts you in that false claim arena, and it gets the reader immediately here. You've got £100,000 promise, and you've got the answer. How you get that is rare out of print books. And at that point, in that split second, when I see that, I'm not making an emotional decision. I'm making a logic one, because I've got all of the information I need. So I go, do I believe that you can, with rare out of print books, could you make 100,000? Maybe, but I'll probably need a lot of work to do that, or need specific books. I don't care about these questions anymore. I haven't got time to answer them. So I'm probably not going to read on. What you do by writing copy that intrigues and little nuggets, and what I would recommend here is to be more specific and go into the story, and maybe an example of this, how this one specific weird, rare book sold and made you like 50, 60 quid, and you bought it for £1 or whatever, or something about the specificity of it, that now there's no thing, you're just going, wow, that's one book that made loads of money. Can you do this more often? Can I think? And I'm leaning in, and I'm making it on emotional decisions. I'm intrigued. I can't fully make that logical decision based on the information I have there.
Let's talk about that. Let's get into that, because I thought the same thing about this copy. So what it's missing slightly is a hook. There's nothing I don't know in here. Now, there's two different ways you can go about that. So, because all the information is there in the headline, how to make £100,000 a year selling books online. This kind of, okay, right. I have to decide whether or not, like Glenn said, whether or not I believe that's true, whether or not I want to do that. There are two ways you could make it slightly more hooky. One would be, well, what you need to ask yourself, what's the piece of information they don't have? Because that's the thing that's going to draw them in. So if it was, for instance, a first person narrative, how I made more than most doctors last year selling books nobody wants, brackets, they're probably already on your shelves. That's not a very good headline, but it's a story, first person story. Because you sort of know what he did. Okay, well, he made a lot of money selling books, but because it's styled like that, you can say, I'm going to show you how I did it. And it's way easier than you might think, because inevitably you think, how did he do it then? Now, there is actually a hook here, which is he went down to his local library, found this book that told him which ones to look for. Or Glenn, you alluded to where the first edition stamp in a book might be. There has to be some piece of information that, like, this is what made the difference to me. It's a secret, it's a strategy, it's something, a blueprint, something. Those are all slight copy cliches. So that's one way, because you think, how did he do it? Glenn's going to find an example and show us.
I might be able to. So I'll let you carry on speaking.
Well, the other way would be to not give so much information. The other way would be to not give so much information. So how I made myself a sizable second, or how to make a sizable second income using nothing but the books on your shelves you don't read. So you're not telling them that it's selling rare books online yet. You're giving slightly less information. That the answer, the most reliable way to make money online is not X, Y, or Z. All you need to do is go to your bookshelf and look for this symbol that Glenn is now about to show us.
Yeah, so I was trying to. It would be fun if I had been able to just quickly pull out the headline. Well, I just remembered I wrote a promo about this, but the headline that I used was it was called the 13-digit. It was how you use this 13-digit code that can make you X, Y, and Z kind of thing.
And that would have been the IS.
It was the ISBN number. So it was how you could, like, cross-reference the ISBN number. I'll stop looking through what about the thousands of promos. But yeah, so that was like, what is that element? And I'd basically figured out that, oh, the ISBN is unique. So if you can go in a charity shop and quickly check that that's the ISBN, you'd see that, and then there's a mark for the first edition and all this kind of stuff. But that was this. So the secret was, all right, so there's this number, like, that's in every book that, like, is the code to whether it's worth £5 or 500 quid kind of thing. And that just brought you in and gave you that intrigue and go, all right, okay, right, so I can do this.
That's the skeleton key. So you can completely cloak it and not tell them it's about books. I actually wouldn't do that in this case. I think it's fine to tell them that it's books.
Yeah.
But what we're saying is, what piece of information is the key that unlocks this story? We don't want to tell them what that is in the headline or the lead. We want to, if it's a story, we want to say, I tried loads of things online, then I found this way of making tons of money selling rare books. I'm going to show you how I did it. And I'm going to show you the 13-digit thing you need to look for in the book. You need to go and look on your bookshelf now and check that out, this number in every single book. And I guarantee you there'll be, or I reckon there'll be at least £500 worth of spare side income sat on your bookshelves already. So you've got to create that thing up top that's like, well, what is that? I want to know more about that. And if that's the key, the secret, it's going to make it loads more compelling, rather than just a straight up, I'm going to show you how to make money selling rare books online, and then I'm going to tell you a story about how I sell rare books online, because the reader is just able to look at that story, classify it, and ask themselves, do I want to sell rare books online? If the answer is yes, they might read on. If the answer is no, they won't. So you've instantly cut down your audience. Whereas if you can keep that loop open and they think, oh, well, I wonder what that thing is. I don't know if I want to do it yet, because I actually don't have all the information to make up my mind. That's what the hook is. You've got to withdraw that piece of information. So I think it's a great example of just giving a little bit too much away. There's always got to be, what's the thing the reader doesn't know? What are you going to reveal to them in this letter? That's the way you're going to draw them in and create some dramatic tension.
Yeah.
If you enjoy The Fix and want to get access to even more good stuff, join the Fix Accelerator today. Get access to special masterclasses from Nick and me, watch expert interviews with industry legends, join live copy feedback sessions every week, and get connected to our very own private copy network. Visit thefixaccelerator.com for more information.
I'd say as well, so there's two things. I want to give the copywriter here just a few different ideas as well. There's good stuff here, by the way. There's in that deck copy, there's books you might have in your house right now. They're actually worth a lot of money. That now you're starting to like get into like, oh, right, that's interesting. Like that would probably be a stronger headline. Is there a book in your under the stairs right now that's worth £100,000 kind of thing? That would start getting me going, oh, right, okay, is there? Like, what is it? I want to read on. And that's a different way into a hook. But another way of thinking about it is, so we always talk about that you either go to the product or you go to the person that you're selling to. What you're doing here is going to the product, and we're saying, all right, there's a 13-digit code, there's a strange thing, there's a unique reference or something like that, or this particular version of the book is out of print or what have you. The other way to go with this as well, and just because I've done it so I can see like actually how this has gone to market and different promos I'd used when I was doing a similar thing. But the other way is to go to the reader, and what are they always seeing in terms of this? And most people, if you're looking at books, they're seeing Amazon. That's what the audience sees. They see Amazon, they might see eBay and what have you. But I think Amazon, if you can, I don't know what the product is, the specifics here, but if one of the ways that you sell these is through Amazon, when you look at where the reader is and the things that they're seeing, if you talk about books today, you're talking about buying books on Amazon. You could then start working around headlines of saying like how to claim money back from Amazon, how to get like your own back on Amazon or what have you, or how to like stop paying them and get them to pay you. And you can start to see how when we talk about looking at the product, but then going to the actual person, what they're seeing in the world, your reader is, when they see books, they see Amazon. So you go, right, how can I disrupt that? Well, actually, instead of you paying Amazon all the time, you're going to get Amazon to pay you, and you're going to get checks from them and all this kind of stuff. You go, what? That's weird. So now I'm starting to lean in there. As I say, it might be depends on the functionality, how this product works.
Definitely a valid.
It just shows you how to start thinking about where the product is. And I think with the rare books thing, you've got loads of product stuff to go on here. But where's the audience? Where are people when they think about books and buying books and selling books? What are they? Where are they? What are they thinking about? And then that starts getting you thinking about, oh, right, okay, well, actually, yeah, I could do it like that. It could be an Amazon rebate checks and all this kind of stuff and stuff like that. And it puts you into that world, which is quite interesting, which is a long way around of saying for this actual product, when I was selling it as a product, it was when I did that subject line, which you'll probably remember. I did your order on Amazon.co.uk was the subject line, and it was like that year's best subject line, and it was the same subject line that you sent out from that Amazon sent out. I just stole the subject line, but then my thing said, dear reader, you've probably received that subject line before, and it means you've just paid for something on Amazon. I'm going to tell you how you get paid by Amazon by doing this special thing kind of thing. So it just twisted it, but it just gets you in that different frame of mind and going, all right, rather than saying how to make money from doing this thing, which makes me a logical, can I be asked? Probably not. Now you're going, all right, okay, what do you think? Oh, right, okay. And then this, and I think the copywriter behind this, and I know they use this already and it does okay for them, but now you're kind of going, wow, now I've got loads of options. I can start really playing. And I know that there's loads of good stuff in this product to be able to start riffing and getting adventurous.
There's also another way you think about it. It's probably slightly back towards the product. But if you want to be quite direct and you don't want to cloak it, for instance, some people just want to be more direct with their product, and that's their prerogative and they're right, especially if they've created it. But if you want to be really open about the fact that it's selling rare books or used books, make it very useful and educational to the reader. So for instance, so again, you want to have that bolder claim, you want to tell them what it is more more openly, but could you have something in there that's like named in this letter, the 20 books to go and look on your shelves for today, like, and actually give that away in the thing, like, okay, just for reading this letter, I'm going to tell you the 20 books you should go over to your shelves and look through today. If you find any one of these books on your shelf, then I'll tell you what to do or whatever, because that is useful. That maybe speaks to your target audience if you want to be quite open with them, but it also gets them acting, doesn't it? If you can give them something so useful that all of a sudden they're thinking, well, okay, right, hang on. I'm not interested in the 100 grand a year because I don't believe that, say, but I'll just check out if I've got any of those books, right? As soon as they do that and they think, I'll just go to the bookshelf and just look, what were they again? Right, I'll have a quick look. You're part of their life then, aren't you? You know, as your copy it's off the page and into their brain, it's into their actions. We were talking last week when we were in Lincoln about once you get somebody to download an app and put in we were talking about a place that was very memorable to them into the what 3 words are. You're part of their life, you're part of their world all of a sudden. So that's something you can do. You can say, I'm going to promise you valuable information up top. The reader may well just read on to find out the name of those 20 books. That's okay. That's fine. Gives us a bit of time to talk to them about what it is we do and who we are and how much money we might have made or how much money they could make or how the system might work. We're going to buy ourselves a bit of time. So whatever that thing is, you've got to ask yourself, I want to give them plenty, but I want to have something that draws them down into my sales pitch, into my funnel. I'm going to draw you down into my funnel, Glenn. But you know what I mean? We've got to ask ourselves what that might be. There's tons of different ways. I mean, I'm probably not interested in this because I'm quite lazy, but I'd love to know if any of the books I've got could be worth, 100 quid, say. Like, I think then I'd be like, well, I'll sell that one for £100. That's just one book, like just the magic of that can be quite compelling. So I'd be interested in that. So that there's a few different ways we can create a hook here, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's the key takeaway. There's a few little technical pieces that I'd just add for the copywriter. I'd break stuff down. I think it's too bulky. I think just on a technical basis. I think I spoke about this recently to our Fix Accelerator members, but the idea that when you start changing like that deck copy there, which is what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. I'd break that down into at least 2 paragraphs of 3 lines each. So you've got to start getting rid of copy, and then that forces you to say, right, well, what do I actually need to keep? So I'd do a little exercise of just expanding this out, blowing it out a bit, and then having to delete some stuff to focus your copy. I think there's good stuff. I think it's a well-written piece. I think it's character. I think the tone's nice. I was going to say as well on a purely technical thing, maybe something to test. It comes in with, hi there, I'm me. This is my thing. I wonder if it would just be stronger trying to change those I's into U's to begin with by just reframing it and saying, there you are in the bookshop. There's this book that you've discovered. You go home, you sell it for £100,000, blah, 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 blah. My name's Roland, and I did that. I did that last week. I did it on Monday. I did it Tuesday. I've just done it now. In fact, I've just come back from the post office where I've sent off another batch of books that I've sold for thousands of pounds. The fact is, I'm doing this every week, and I have been doing for long. So it just, again, it's not a bad opening with that. I think there is some kind of honest, credible kind of element to this, but I think maybe just try that opening with the turn the I's into U's. I think would probably make it that bit stronger. So I'd break up some copy thingy, but I think the main thing, what we've figured out here, is that you've got a really interesting idea. I think you want to add a hook to it and just go back a little bit and reduce the information, and then what do you want to hold and breadcrumb through the promo? And at the moment, there's nothing. It's all just there going, here it is. This is
ask yourself, and it's a cliche, but it's worth asking yourself, what's the secret? What is the secret? What's the thing the reader doesn't know?
Yeah.
What is the actual secret here? The real thing that made the difference in this person's life. Find out what that is. I think you already know. It's this book he finds in a library that, okay, that's the secret. Don't tell them that. yet. How, and then use that as the key. And just to reiterate one of the points Glenn just made, just in that headline complex, we can just bring it back up on screen at this point. You know, a headline, for instance, that has 2 sentences in it is already, I'm not saying it can't work, but I'm already just, it's sending a little one idea alarm off in my head, because it's 2 sentences. So which one is it? Which one do you want me to focus on? How to make more than 100 grand a year using rare out of print books, or the fact that it's the easiest business that really makes money on the internet? Putting them both in there, to me, does not strengthen it. It makes me think you couldn't decide. One of those could be the eyebrow. Probably such and such reveals the easiest business that really makes money on the internet. ... How I made, there's another number further into the copy, how I made £6,275 selling 22 books I didn't want online. You know, yeah. I'm about to show you, you know, those books on your shelves aren't, you might not be reading them and you might not think they're worth anything, but I found a way of figuring out which ones are worth money and which ones aren't, and now it's my income or whatever.
There's a weird thing.
Just simplify it.
There's a weird thing, and we'll use it as an end point, I think. But I think, well, certainly in my own experience, I'm going to turn my light on. I was worried that it's just going to turn the thing. I mean, that's thingy, but I was just aware.
You look better. You were getting a bit grainy.
Dark it was in my room behind me, and the light from outside is stopping. But I'm aware of, in my life, people come up to me and say, "Oh my God, you write these long things, and what have you?" And it's like, yeah. And they think, "Oh, it must be full of waffle and all this kind of stuff." But ironically, we end up coming on here, and the majority of copy we look at go, "Oh, you need to reduce it." And people probably go, "Oh, but I thought it was long copy. I thought it's all about filling it and putting loads of stuff in there." And it's like, well, yes, what it is, it's about doing that, but then boiling it down. Just because there's a lot of copy doesn't mean you can waffle and just throw all your ideas there. You have to put a lot of copy, then condense the hell out of it, and then slowly build it back up. So every piece of writing there, every word is doing some work. And I think it's a bit of a, I'm telling you, like, kind of thing, but it really is you can't just have loads of copy and that's more is better. It's about going, right, actually there's a reason, like all of these things, and we'll do it when you see us talk about the 4 Ps and all that. Every line has a reason for being there. Every word, every phrase has a reason to be there. Most of the time it's just repeating it. I saw something, Ruth had something the other day, piece of copy on like a trendy company, and you could tell the 2 lines that they'd used. I could see the hired copywriter that had been hired to write it had been told one thing, and they're told they'd need to get this amount of words, and they'd written the same thing twice in different ways. And I thought, well, that's just what you've done there is just produce double the copy for like half the impact. Like, it would be much better to delete that second thing and put something else in, put another benefit in, put something else in, put a kicker saying, so, oh, here's how you could make this much money. In fact, you could make all this money, kind of thing. So always there's more stuff. And so it just seems weird. And I imagine people like, oh, well, I've written all this stuff. And it's like, no, you need to condense it down and then build it back up with only the bits that need to go in there.
We've talked before about, you got to be hard on yourself. You've got to select and then amplify. Yeah. You've got to find the bits that really matter, cut everything else out, let those things grow, amplify them up. And that's what ends up filling the messaging out to a longer word count, but it's still select and amplify. Anyway, we should stop there. It's a good piece of copy. Definitely, you know, I think we've got 3 or 4 different options there that we could try if we're testing. So hopefully if you wrote this piece of copy, you've at least got some ideas to improve and test against. Send the next version in if you like. Yeah. And we'll go through it again. But I guess for now, Glenn, we should maybe wrap up this episode of The Fix. As always, send us your copy if you want us to review it. This is all we do at The Fix. We take your copy, try and make it stronger for you, as if you were in a real writer's review with us. So hopefully that was useful to you. Aside from that, why don't we wrap up? Thank you very much, Glenn. Thanks for putting the light on.
And, it's kind of gone weird in the room now. It was quite a good natural light. I'm just going to.
It's very windy.
Dark outside.
Yeah.
You can see, Mike, you've got like, it feels like it's darker here than it is where you are.
Because my garden's full of snow, I think. And I live further south than you. So although we are talking to each other at the same time, the sun will set earlier.
This is a bonus to this episode that it just ended me spinning.
No,
That's
no one's watching this, Glenn. Right. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
That's all for this episode, but if you'd like to get your copy reviewed, or you've seen some copy you want Nick and Glenn's opinion on, get in touch at feedback@thefixcopywriting.com. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and share.